let me take a time to say a pleasant good morning to one and all listening to Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9. Those of you who are viewing via GBN TV, whatever the channels you have chosen to view us via this morning, good morning to you. Those of you via social media platforms, let me say good morning to you also. Whether it's the Facebook page, YouTube channels, good morning, welcome. It's Thursday. It's the 16th day of January 2025. And of course, on Thursday, we have different departments within the Royal Grenada Police Force. And today we do have the Fire Department with us this morning. Started off this morning, we have WPC 193 Stafford with me this morning. I missed the first name, but we will get it as the morning goes along. We also do have Sergeant, Augustine, my bad again. Sergeant Augustine Mitchell with us this morning, and both are from the Fire Department. I want to say good morning to both of you and welcome to the point.
Good morning. Thank you.
All right, you're simply welcome. So we're talking, of course, the dry season is in already. We start January to June is usually the dry season here. And of course, we have 2 seasons here in Grenada. So we're into the dry season now, which usually runs from January to June. We know what came about last year in terms of the dry season. We had a drought situation last year that of course, we had fires in various parts of the island. That posed a challenge because of the limited water that was available around and the excessive dryness on island. So this year, of course, we starting it off in terms of, we're going to give some tidbits in terms of prevention. We're going to kick the conversation off. So with, if I could just follow through on it directly. There are folks who think, well, I could just do what I want in terms of lighting a fire. And there are laws that of course governs the lighting of fires, especially whether it's for agricultural purposes or someone decides, hey, I want to light a fire around my house because I have cleaned up and I have all these leftover bushes and so forth, dry leaves and stuff I want to light. Let's talk a wee bit about the laws that relate to setting fires. I'm not sure who's going to take the mantle on that this morning as we get a conversation rolling once again.
Okay, there are 2 laws in relation to setting of fire. We have the Agriculture Act, and then we have the law setting of fires. 72, chapter 72, 144, 147.
Yes.
Guide us on setting fires. It's not on agriculture purposes, but you want to set fire. There are some guidelines in relation to that where you must inform neighbors. You must have water. You're burning small heaps and so forth. In relation to the agriculture give you provision that you have to apply to the Chief Extension Officer, the Ministry of Agriculture.
Yes.
And then you get a license to do so. But on that license, there are some guidelines whereby it states that you have to burn in small heaps. You have to have water on the site. You must have water on the site. You also have to have a clear path. We call it a fire line.
Okay.
So you have to inform the fire department the day, the time you are burning. So these are some guidelines that it's have on a license.
Okay.
But not every time that you apply for a license, it guarantees that you're going to get a license.
Okay.
Sometimes you're being refused a license, but you have an option where you can reapply, not to the Chief Extension Officer, but you can apply to the Minister of Agriculture to do so. Right. If you apply and within 10 days you didn't obtain a license, then you are free to go ahead and burn.
Okay.
But there is you are responsible for any damages, any cause of any fire damages to any property, agriculture, lands or anything. You're responsible. So that is some of the guidelines that is on the license. As I said, there is 2 sections. One is a Fire Act burning, and then one is the Agriculture Act.
Okay. And still in regards to the laws that govern this, I go ahead and I light a fire without the option of obtaining a license via the laws. Are there penalties that surrounds individuals not following the law or following suit with the law as relates to lighting fires? Are there penalties that someone could get themselves into problems with going ahead and lighting a fire without the following the laws that governs it?
Yes. Persons persons can be arrested if they fail to adhere to the laws that govern it.
Right.
The penalty, $500 or 3 months imprisonment or both. The agriculture part of it, if persons fail to adhere to the guidelines on the license, they also can be penalized. They can be arrested and charged for an offense.
Has there been, of course, situations, of course, locally where, individuals will, of course, penalized, especially for not following those guidelines at all? Have you had situations like that at all?
Yes. Last year we had a few arrests in relation to it, and person was brought to court.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Well, we're hoping that we don't have a situation running into the same reoccurring in 2025, and I'm glad that we're taking the ignition early enough in the year so that folks could have a clear idea of the do's and don'ts as it relates to forest fire. Now, let's talk a wee bit about the procedures for permission. I decided I maybe let's start it off maybe with the agricultural lands. I'm clearing my lands and so forth, so the excessive stuff I decided I want to burn it. Let's talk a wee bit about the procedures that governs how I go about doing that.
Okay. The procedures are, first of all, the law said every person before commencing setting of fire on land shall apply. So first of all, must apply in writing, or they go in person to the ministry. After you obtain that license, then you carry a copy to the fire department. Okay. So the fire department, the person on desk will give you a guideline also. They will give you a number to call. You have to get the proper guidelines, or when you should be burning, how you should be burning, who you should inform after before you start to burn. So all these, so you're set, you have your trees or whatever you have to burn, cardboard, pieces of board, agriculture purposes, whatever. You make sure that you don't put a big 3 feet, 4 feet heap, 10 feet wide. There's a small heap, you put in small heap.
That's controllable, I would
say. Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes the minister or the chief extension officer sends somebody to inspect.
All right. I was going to ask you a question about if there's an option where maybe the fire department or someone within the ministries of agriculture so will visit that person's, maybe the farmer or whatever lands that person has, to take a view of what needs to be burned out, if it should be burned, depending on their location and so forth.
Yes. So we do, or the chief extension officer sends someone to inspect, because sometimes people say agriculture purposes and is within a village.
Yeah.
So you don't want to cause people calling and say there's smoke disturbance and cause chaos. So they send and inspect. So while there, you might also advise the person how they should go about doing that burning. Okay. So if you find their heaps too small, you let them know. No, you have to narrow it down.
All right. So I guess you offer some recommendations in terms of how they could proceed.
Yes. And then you make sure that you let them know how to do the fire line, 6 feet, 8 feet, whatever, according to the distance. If they have water, make sure that, because not sometimes in the dry season, the drought, we have scarcity of water, so we ask persons to have drums.
Yeah.
Fill up your drums, hold it on the site. Yeah. So when you're ready to burn, there is not a problem for water. Because sometimes the day you go to burn, you might pull a garden hose and there is no water. So we ask to fill up your drums, 3, 4, 5 drums, and then you inform, and then we come and inspect, that you're ready to burn.
All right. Is the procedure same for someone who wants to do it in a domestic environment? What is the procedure for that? Let's say in a particular community, someone wants to burn. What is the procedure for that?
Well, in domestic settings, we advise person that they do the same. You're burning smallly, have water on the side, but because it's a domestic and maybe in a village or community, you make sure that you inform your neighbors or a person in the community. Okay. But some person, what they do, they advise person or they inform persons only to the close proximity. And what we fail to understand that smoke travel from one distance to the next. So we advise them not close proximity, but go out to your village, go out and let people know that you're burning. You don't have to do it sometime in word, because most of the time people say we're not this person, we don't have a relationship and so forth. You could do it in writing. Write a note, send it out to the person. Right?
Technology plays a role.
Exactly. You have cell phone, you could send up some information.
A message or something.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. Let them know that you're burning, and give them the time you're burning. So date and time is very important when you're burning, because most time people washing wrong at particular time. Children have asthma, they're at home, so we advise person do some burning in a time conducive to your neighbors.
Okay, great. We're due for a break. Let's take that break. When we come back, we continue with the conversation. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point here on Classic Radio, GBN TV. We'll be right back after the break. Don't touch it down.
Grenada is indeed beautiful and worth exploring. We firmly believe that you should be allowed to do so. Why not explore Grenada with James Services Corp Off-Road Tours? Whether you decide to explore Grenada with your family, spouse, or large group of friends, we are ready to welcome you. Our tours are guaranteed to leave you with wonderful memories of Grenada if you are visiting, and excitement if you live here. Book a tour with us now by visiting our website www.jamessvcs.com. Call 1473-442-3769 or email info@jamessvcs.com. James Services Corp Off-Road Tours.
I am Dennis James Williams, owner and director of James Services Corp. Looking forward to welcoming you to the beautiful island of Union to explore with James Services Corp Off-Road Tours. See you soon.
Explore our beautiful island of Grenada from an angle that is unique and off-road, but equally fun. We are 100% family-friendly tours.
The St. John's Christian Secondary School 60th anniversary, January 12th to the 19th, 2025, celebrating 60 years of excellence through God's grace and guidance. Calling all alumni, come out and celebrate with us. Here's the calendar of events. On Sunday, January 12th, church service at the school auditorium from 9:30 a.m. Wednesday, January 15th, meet and greet at Belmont Estate 3:30 p.m. Thursday, January 16th, health fair at the school from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. Friday 17th January, Chapel Day, open forum at 10 a.m., open house at 11 a.m. Sunday, January 19th, gala at the Trade Center from 7 p.m.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, once again to The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV. We do have the fire department with us this morning, and we're talking, of course, it's all about the dry season, preparedness, and of course, fire safety, and of course, prevention is also important. Officers, welcome back once again. Let's get into the conversation that relates to safety measures. That is crucial in terms of anyone wanting to light a fire for of course, for the right reasons. If I can put it in that reason, there are folks who want to light fires for the wrong reason. There are safety measures that individuals should follow. Let's hear those safety measures that individuals will follow. There's probably someone who is listening to this conversation this morning and may have not thought about their particular guidelines or measures that I should take when lighting fires. Let's hear about them.
Well, some of the safety measures that we're looking for when person is lighting fires is you have a clear path. Okay, as I said earlier, we call it a fire line.
Yeah.
So you have a 6 feet, 8 feet away, clear from the area you're burning. So the fire, even though it starts spreading, it would not go over that 6 feet perimeter. Also, we ask persons to have some of the safety measures, to have water on the side, you have sand, you have whatever necessary that you use to out-fire. So water is the most cheapest.
Yeah.
Right? Sunday, you may have to go to the beach and joke and so forth.
Not encouraging that.
Right. So we encourage water. Water, as much water as possible on the site. You have to take the weather, the wind condition, the state of the day, because most people starts to burn and they say, okay, well, outside is calm and there is no wind. But what they fail to understand, that the heat, fire attract oxygen.
Yes.
18% of the atmospheric air used to sustain fire. We only have 21. Okay. So 18% of the percentage of that atmospheric air, the heat will attract it. And suck it in.
Yes.
So the moment time you light that fire, all the oxygen, all the heat will use up all that oxygen in that area. So what you realize that the fire gonna get much more active, you're gonna be more vigorous and blazing more. So sometimes people get scared. They say, okay, well, we will light the fire and it didn't have no wind and so forth, but they fail to realize that heat attract oxygen,
and then the panic steps
and then get panic.
And the panic steps.
Right. So you might see the overhanging trees start to ignite. You may have sparks flying all over. So may dry grass on the other side. So that's how we advise person. You trim the overhead. So if you're setting that fire in a particular area, you trim the trees overhead because there might be dry leaves on that particular tree, because sometimes trees drop off their leaves, and some of them their leaves withered stays on the tree, so the little sparks and so forth might catch on that tree. We also advise person that you gather up leaves and so forth that is close by.
Yeah.
So you prevent the spread of that fire.
All right. What if some of those safety measures that you have just outlined, is something that you cannot present at the time, especially the water, the sand, and all of that you have, or maybe you have a fire extinguisher and all these things, you cannot bring it to the site where you want to do. If that isn't, would you encourage folks to still go ahead and do that, or you said you should literally don't get involved in lighting that fire at all?
We'll advise them don't get into setting fire. You could do other measures, do compost heap.
Yeah.
So you do a compost heap, you leave your all the dry stuff, all the buns, all the things that you're not using, put them in a heap, and then at the end of it all, you use that same mulching for your garden.
All right.
So we advise person to do compost heap.
All right. But let's speak a wee bit, of course, with the WPC staff for this one a wee bit. 2024 was a challenging year for the fire department. Of course, we knew what would take place because of the dry or the drought situation that occurred here in Grenada. There will be statistics out there that of course will grab the interest of our listener and viewing audience this morning. Let's hear a wee bit about those statistics that especially relates to fires and so forth within the year 2024.
Good morning again to all the listeners. The statistics we have present is that the total amount of emergencies we responded to for the year 2024, we had a total of 422 compared to that of 2023. We are speaking about the period from January to December. 2023 we had 310. So we see that we had an increase there.
That's for 2024?
2024.
Yeah.
And the most prevalent was bushfires.
All right.
We had 159 in 2024, that's last year, whereas in 2023 we had only 100. So we saw there was an increase there. We also saw in rubbish fire, we had 81 for the period January to December 2024, whereas in 2023 we had 43. So we also saw there was an increase there, right?
Okay.
And we had other, that was the third highest. We had 52 in 2024, whereas in 2023 we had 34, right? When we say other, we're speaking of like shed fires, electrical pole fires and stuff like that.
Okay.
Right? And fourth, we had false calls.
Yeah.
So in 2024 we had 29, and we see in 2023 we had only 9. So we saw there was an increase there.
When you say false calls, so folks will just call and say there's a fire and there's no fire.
Yes, people do that, and then when you respond and we get there, we realize there is no fire.
And then, that comes up with an inconvenience. Suppose there was really a fire in a particular location, and I know the fire truck is at that location and the fire is another, and you call to one point where it wasn't,
Yeah.
All right.
So I would just like to let the public know that whenever you make a prank call, there is a part of the law in the electrical crime bill 2013, right? So I will quote: prank calls to law enforcement. A person shall not make calls to any law enforcement authority or emergency service with the purpose of giving false and misleading information. 2. A person making a call to any law enforcement or emergency service shall not A. use a caller identification service to transmit misleading or inaccurate caller identification information service. B. Mask the voice. C. Provide a fake phone number to call the recipient. A person who contravenes subsection 1 or 2 commits an offense and shall be liable on summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $5,000 or to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 6 months or both. So it's like fine and confine.
All right, cool. All right, so folks will certainly take heed of them when you get minimal of these prank calls, I would say, in 2025. I want us to talk a wee bit about some of the challenges that the fire department actually faced 2024, especially as it relates to fires and so forth. What are some of those main challenges that were faced?
Some of the challenges that we faced, one, responding to fires. We have a lot of inconsiderate drivers, especially in minor roads.
Yes.
Persons parked anyhow, anyway, anytime, not leaving consideration for any emergency vehicle. That is one of the greatest problem we have.
Yeah.
Also on responding to fires, the person that is not considerate, also drivers. Now they will hear the siren, they will hear the horns and so forth, and still try to overtake other vehicles, fail to pull over and give way to the emergency vehicles. So persons think they could just step across the road, hear a siren or just move across the road. Also crowd, when we respond to fires, people are not hearing to the police officers, like put up a cordon. People say they should get behind the cordon. They want to take videos, they want to take photos, and crowd build up, and they don't see the hazard in that and the danger in doing that. Sometimes I tell people, get back behind the cordon, and they're gonna front, and it put extra effort in getting persons out and concentrating on the fire. So this is some of the challenges
now in terms of getting that fire out.
Yes, this is some of the challenges. Even the recent fire in St. Jolly's, that there was a group of persons that was trying to get them out, and there's a gentleman there with his phone, and all I tell him to get back. He will not get back until I threaten and say, well, we have to arrest you. So this is some of the challenges we have, and also person doesn't understand. When fire burns, it gives off very contaminated gases, and it is dangerous for the health, especially vehicle fires, business houses fires.
I guess there are various chemicals that are now being burned there, right, especially from the vehicle, and depending on the building or the nature of the building where it is, there are chemicals there that are burning also.
Yes. So that is some of the challenges we have when responding to fires.
Okay. Hey folks, it's To The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV, and I want us to speak a wee bit. Of course, you spoke about those challenges, and we into a new year. And of course, I know there are advice you would like to throw there. Besides the challenge, there are advice you would like to give out to, of course, our listeners and viewers. The do's and don'ts when it comes to fires. Things that individuals should do. Because some folks always feel, well, maybe I should start challenging that fire for myself before the fire department comes and so forth, depending if it's possible for them to do so. What are some of the advice you'd like to give to individuals when a fire is occurred that they should do or shouldn't do at all?
I only advise persons that if they, especially in the homes, if there is a small fire and you have an extinguisher, you may attempt to extinguish it if you are trained in using the extinguisher.
Yeah.
In the process of doing so, you call for help. If the fire started to develop, grow, you get out. So you always have an exit to your back. Yeah. So you don't fight the fire inside and the door is locked. So you always have an exit to your back. So you fight that fire and you get out. You always call for help. Call 911. They're going to put you onto the fire department. We're going to dispatch a crew. Right? Also, we are advising person when there is fire, don't try to throw off, throwing up the mattresses and picking up clothing that is on fire and throwing it out. What you're doing, you may taking that mattress and throwing it to a other position or other place that is not ignite. So you cause that other area
to start the blaze, to ignite another
so leave it there, close the door. So when you close the door, your windows, what you do, you shut off the oxygen from entering that. So the fire is contained in that particular area, no oxygen, it may die down or you may have an overflash.
Why is it recommended that you keep the houses closed or during a fire? Why is it recommended?
Because of oxygen supply. If you open the windows and doors, we'll have a rush of oxygen. Because as we said earlier on, heat attracts oxygen. So when you close down your windows and doors, you shut off the oxygen. So it may stifle. That is one of the things. It may stifle the fire and stop it from burning.
Okay. We're due for a break once again. We come back. We certainly will continue with the conversation, folks. We're talking to, the folks from the fire department this morning as it relates to, of course, the dry season that is approaching. And just getting your mind, of course, prepared just in case the nature of fires also occurs in your vicinity during the next couple of months. We'll be right back after the break. Don't touch it out, folks. Stay with us. Classic Radio, GBN TV.
All around the world, right? Looking to take your business to new heights? Advertise with GPN on our social media platforms and get noticed by our 138,000 plus followers. Reach a massive engaged audience ready to connect with your brand. No matter your business size, GPN is here to help you grow. Contact us today at admin@gpn.gd or WhatsApp 407-8458 to get started.
welcome back. Welcome back once again, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's To the Point here on Classic Radio and GBN TV. We have the fire department with us this morning. Another question I'd like to ask, and of course, it's probably open to any of the two officers to answer. Especially for homeowners, business places, and so forth, just in case there's a fire that's occurred, what is that plan that they should have? Or you like to emphasize that plan, that plan, and just in case there's an emergency of that nature happening to your home or that business establishment, what sort of plan should they have, or should they implement, or have discussed among family members, and even as we talk about business, employees, what is that plan they should have in terms of making sure that everyone gets out of the building and so forth safely?
Okay, I would say that business places and homeowners, they must always have an emergency plan.
Yeah.
So they must have a sit down with personnel, make everybody know like what is expected in terms of an emergency, and always ensure that there is the exit route, and that path is always cleared and there is no obstruction there. Person should be familiar with methods to safely extinguish that fire, right? If it becomes unmanageable. Such as you could smother it, or they have a fire extinguisher close by or so. Persons should, in case of fire and you cannot manage it, or they say the fire is going out of control, you always call 911. The fire department, you could call 435-7270 or 405-6881.
All right. Now, besides fires and so on, what are some of the other emergencies that the fire departments will attend to?
Okay, we also attend to things like accidents where persons are trapped in vehicles. Also, we attend to those type of emergency. If persons have like a building and they are being locked out, yes, they usually call the fire department and to unlock that building, and alarm activation in case there is alarm in business places and the alarm just go off, they call and then we'll attend to these also.
All right. I mean, I guess individuals who may have never knew that will have themselves getting all panicky and stuff in terms that those services are also available. We also have the lines open for listeners and viewers this morning. If you do have a question or two you may like to ask the officers here from the fire department this morning, maybe something that we may not have touched, and it's a question you may like to ask, feel free to do so. 435-2041. You have double options of calling in. You can call via the WhatsApp. You can also call direct 435-2041. If you prefer to send a message via the WhatsApp, feel free to do so also, and I will certainly throw that question out to the officer. I'm seeing one question already via someone via the WhatsApp. They're saying, good morning to you and your guests. Burning on a slope, which is better, lighting at the footer or the head? Someone wants to ask in that question.
Based on the wind direction, you may, most of the time the wind go up slope, so you burn from bottom go up.
Okay.
Yeah, you burn from top go down. And it does not matter if you sometimes you burn on the top, the wind take it, and so based on the wind direction, yeah.
So it's always better from the bottom
go
goes up.
Yeah.
Which would be, of course, much more controllable for
exactly.
you. Much more controllable.
For the person, yeah.
I mean, it's always the option with fire is always being able to control it. Eh?
Yes.
That's a key factor. They've been able to control it, especially if you in the particular area that you're lighting the fire, being able to control it. That's important.
If you walk in, you walk from top come down, walk from bottom go up.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. So which is much more controllable. 435-2041. The lines are open, folks. If you do have a question that you would like to ask, let's go to the phone line and see what this caller wants to ask. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you again.
Good morning to you.
And the officer spoke about the wind, and I was just calling towards that. Now, I remember I was burning some bush, and I really thought I had it under control. So I don't mind, after I get the fire out, and I decided I'm going to leave now. But I said, let me just take a last check and see what's going on. So I'll make a circle about 30 feet away, up the hill. And lo and behold, there was a small spark already blazing. If I had left and go without doing that last check, that fire would have spread and burned the whole area. So I'm saying that I want to speak about the safety measures that we had to put in place to light a fire. We had to get a license and stuff like that. But what if the Met Office can give you days based on the wind speed and how the wind is blowing? Days that is better to burn, because the wind have a lot to play with the fire being spread. Remember in Los Angeles, the fire lit and the wind that carried that fire all over the place and burned all those houses. So the wind have a serious factor to play in fire being spread. So I'm just saying that we need to highlight that a little bit more and let the Met Office play a part in giving us the wind speed and the direction of the wind in particular days, in the coming future.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Any response to the caller in terms of
based on what he says, it's so true. But I think every day we get a weather update, wind direction and so forth.
Yes.
Person may not pay heed to it because it's just weather update. Also, people they set fires and they tend to turn it back. Because it's still burning small heap, you may have a small heap, you light it and then say, okay, well, it's going to burn out and you go home. Yeah. And then 10-15 minutes afterwards, someone will call and say, well, there is fire in that particular area. And then you say, well, that fire was so small when I left. But as the gentleman rightly said, the wind speed will pick up, wind direction may change, and then your fire get out of hand.
The basic thing is not leaving the fire unattended.
Not unattended. Exactly. Not leaving it unattended.
All right.
Yes.
435-2041. We have approximately 15 more minutes left on today's program, folks, and we're talking to the fire department this morning. If you do have a question or two as relates to fires, feel free to give me that call. Well, someone is actually responding and they're saying, the Met Office always give it the wind speed, and they say that they hear that every day, so it's always true. Well, someone's also asking another question, but they say, is it true that fire travels slower downhill? They're asking that particular question.
I'll say yes.
Yeah.
The reason for that is because the wind tend to come from underneath, go up, so it may fight itself downhill, but it's fighting against the element of
the pressure of yes. also. Caller Live, good morning. Caller, you know the drill. Please lower whatever device you have in the background before you continue.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Go right ahead, please.
Right, I just want some directive on burning. At the back of my house, I've got the house is fenced, and I've cut some trees down over the years, put the leaves in a compost, and the wood on top of it or around it. And what I've found out that the wood is growing a lot of wood ants. What do I do with the wood? Can I burn that on its own? Thank you.
All right, thank you, caller. We get the officers to respond to that. Did you get the understanding of the caller's question?
Well, I guess you want to get rid of the wood ants.
Yeah.
But there are other methods of besides burning.
I guess there are chemicals
you could use to get rid of the wood ants besides burning. Right. It's a good thing you have a compost heap. The wood ants are there just to break down the elements in the grass and the wood and so forth. But if you find it gonna attack your home and destroy, there is other ways you can use chemicals to instead of burning. Compost heap is very important and it's good for your garden. So when you burn, what you do, you kill some of the elements in the soil and you kill some of the microorganisms in the soil. So your compost heap will help it develop.
All right. We do have another caller. Caller Live. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm asking you if I can.
Caller, before you continue, either your television or your radio is a bit too loud. Please have it lowered, please.
Hold on.
Hey folks, it's To The Point here, Classic Radio GBN TV, and of course we have the fire department with us this morning. If you do have a question or two that you may like to ask, feel free to do so in this segment. Yes, go ahead, caller.
Yes, hello. Good morning, sir. Good morning, officer. I want to make a fire because I have some old woods and them in the garden that is making wood ants and all this kind of thing. So I want to burn it, but I'm asking if I could have permission to burn it in a big hole. It's a drain. It's a big drain, and it come now like a big hole. So it's not going to cause any danger or any harm to anyone. So I will do it right there, and I have the water right there, so I could discard it when it finished burn and make sure that I don't leave anything behind in the hole. So I trying to be safe as I could because I know about fire. And the thing is, you have to feel when a person burning in just a natural place or something or the other, or a slope or what, you have to feel where the wind is blowing. You could feel. People can't see wind, but you could feel it because you could see the trees moving and you could know it blowing you also. So you can feel it and you can know the angle in which the wind is coming. And the wind does not tell you what direction it's changing to, because he cannot speak to you. So we have to understand and feel how the wind blowing and feel the angle in which the wind is coming out, so you could know directly when to make it and when not to make it. So sometimes when we make fire and we do things, it's come kind of a careless on our part, because we have to watch where you burn in the fire. It is clean, and you do not have anything to walk the fire to go somewhere else, because fire can walk. When you say it can walk, it means that you don't have particles and bush and sticks and all this kind of thing. It has to be clean, so that you have to monitor that fire. You can't make a fire and just leave it. You know, some people do funny things and they do things.
All right, caller. Of course, I think we of course understand, and I certainly hope that you will follow the procedure that you mentioned a while ago in terms of getting that whatever you need to done. Thank you so much.
So I will do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you a whole lot. 435-2041. Someone is asking a question via the WhatsApp. They're saying small islands like the Aileron and so forth, they're asking if you do have to get permission from the mainland to burn bushes. Of course, so the fire protocol apply to these small islands also. Someone is asking that question.
Yes.
Yeah. So
part of Grenada, Carriacou, Petit Martinique, all the islands, dependencies, yes.
So they should seek permission before they burn bushes. All right. So of course, the individual who sent that message via WhatsApp, and the officers has mentioned that is yes, they do have to seek permission before, even though it's an island off the main island, but they of course need to seek permission first before they do so. 435-2041, approximately 8 minutes before we take a wrap this morning. Now, fires is always, of course, before I say well, let's take the call and then I'll probably get back to the question I was going to ask. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Yeah, Jay. People are just saying that they have wooders in their wood close to their house, and they want to burn the wood to get rid of the wooders. Wooders sometimes, most of the time, they have a nest in the ground. So just burning the wood won't really get rid of the wooders. You need to treat around your house with maybe sevens or something else. Dig the soil and put the sevens in the soil around the house. And basically, you think that you're burning the wood to get rid of the wooders, but the wooders nest in the soil. So to protect your home is to dig around your house and put some sevens or spray chemical around your house. That will protect your house. And you can't get rid of the wooders by just burning the wood.
All right, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning. I guess the caller is talking from experience too.
Yes.
I've had a bit of experience. I want you to keep throwing out that final bit of advice to our listeners and viewers this morning as relates to the season that we are getting into a whole lot. Maybe early in the season for now, but there's always that continued advice and the preparation and precaution an individual should take. And I'll give you all the option of sending out that, giving them that option once again, in terms of the precaution that they should continue to adhere to and so forth as we go through the dry season.
Well, first of all, I want to say to the general public that if you're burning, please do not leave any fire unattended, especially in your gardens, around villages. And also we advise persons that if you're burning small heap in your community, make sure you advise or you inform your persons in your area, in the vicinity, that you are doing so. We also want to apply to the general public and motorists especially, be very considerate to when you hear the siren of the ambulance or the emergency vehicle, please pay heed and give way. And persons parking in on streets, narrow streets, by roads and so forth, we ask them to please do that with some consideration, because when you park and you left your vehicle and you go to your home, we sometimes make it difficult. It may be difficult for us to maneuver the fire plans from one point to the next through these villages. So we are applying to people to please be considerate and do that.
We take a final call and then we get some closing contribution. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Good day. Just a quick question. Is there any restriction to burning or anything? Would people also in steel containers, like in a drum, if you live in a residential area, and what do you need to do if you need to do so?
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. I guess you heard the caller's question.
Well, the procedure remains the same. If you're burning in a drum, the wood, paper, whatsoever, smoke will be disseminating. So you need to adhere to the procedure. Still, you need to have water on the site. Not because it was a drum, you still need to have water on the site. You still need to inform the persons in the vicinity that you're burning, the time, place, and date. So the procedure remains the same.
Okay, and of course, WPC Telesford, you spoke a lot about the statistics, and I know, of course, you wish for 2025 that we have those statistics diminish a whole lot. And of course, anything you want to tell our listening viewing audience before we, of course, take a wrap for this morning?
I'd like to add that we can look at other options instead of burning, right? So we could promote the use of composting and mulching and sustainable methods for managing yard waste, reduce the need for burning openly, and we can advocate the use of designated waste collection and disposal services where available to minimize the need for burning. So we don't have to always burn. We could look at other options.
All right. Officers, anything in closing before we take a wrap this morning? Anything further? Or I think we may have missed that, of course, you may have wanted to highlight before we take a wrap this morning?
Well, I just want to thank the general public and those that assisted us 2024. And also want to thank the hardworking men of the fire department of the Royal Grenadier Police Force. I think 2024 was a very vigorous time for us, and we've been through it, all because of the mercies of God. We've been through it. There was no injury, no person suffered any serious injury or illnesses. So we want to thank God for that, and continue to do what we have to do on the fight against fires.
All right. Once again, officers, I want to thank you a whole lot for coming and sharing information this morning, and I certainly hope our listening and viewing audience would adhere to some of the, of course, information throughout this morning, especially when in terms of preventing. Prevention is of course, a key factor in terms of fire, and following the right procedures in terms of that. And if you want to, of course, deciding that you want to burn, don't forget to call out, get the relative permission before you do so, and speak to your neighbors about it, because there are folks who have serious illness that smoke and stuff can of course cause to elevate a bit more than it should. So I certainly encourage you to do so and make life easier for everyone. Take a little bit less load off the fire department in 2025. So I want to thank you folks once again, and best wishes, and I certainly hope you have a not too of course serious a season as the season approaches.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right. Hey folks, that's where we take a wrap for this edition of To The Point for today. I want to thank all who contributed towards today's program. Thank you so much. Join me again tomorrow for another edition of To The Point. That's where we say goodbye.